Hey guys, welcome to this topics video where I take this SBAC question, which is just a recognition of an exponential function. What do you get if you put 6 into this function? And the challenge for students, I think, would be the fact that 6 is actually like right here outside our grid. So this, would have to extend. And the kids would need to know, what is f of 6, right? What is that f value or output value? So I think with this problem, students should be able to recognize if you put in a 0, get out of 1, put in a 1, get out of 2, put in a 2, get out of 4, then our exponential curve, or our function, would be f of, and sorry for the writing guys, I'm using my mouse, f of 2 to the x, and that's what our function is. So what I wanted to show you in this video is being able to define functions in Geogebra and how easy it is to start relating thoughts like if you put a 2 into f, what this notation really is. Because I know my students struggle seeing f of 2 as an output of if we put 2 into our function. So f of 2, we should get 4, right? 2 squared. But to have kids understand that when they see this and to see that that's an output, it's still kind of a mystery to my students, but I know that when I use Geogebra and we talk and we just use the function notation as an output, my students are getting a little more sense of function notation. So let's go to Geogebra and let's put in our function 2 raised to the x power. Okay, so I got a blank Geogebra. Maybe I want my grid and my axes on with little checkboxes up here. Okay, when it comes to defining functions, there's 2 ways you could go. We can call this f of x if we want to and say f of x equals, and I don't know if you can see that in the video, but I typed f of x equals in the input bar, and that'll define our function as f. But I'm going to get rid of that and show you that all you have to do is put an expression in the input bar like 2 raised to, that's the little caret, the x power, and if I hit enter, what's nice is Geogebra by default will define our function as, or our expression as a function and call it, say, f of x. So if I wanted to change f of x for whatever reason, maybe for another example or whatnot, then in my input bar I can actually redefine f of x by saying f of x equals whatever expression we want. Maybe I want this to be a quadratic, say x minus 2 squared plus 1. And then when I hit enter, now f of x is our new expression, our new function. Okay, if we just have, and I went back to 2 to the x here, but if I wanted to enter a new function, say like 2x minus 3, and I don't define it by anything when I hit enter, Geogebra will just automatically make it a new function with a new variable. Okay, so back to the 2 to the x. The question in the the SBAC question is, what is f of 6? So what's nice now is that we have our f function defined. So what we can do is say in the input bar, let's plot the input-output relationship. Right? If we put in a 6 into our f function, what do we get out? So our output value is this f of 6. Right? That's really notation-wise how we denote the output by after we put a 6 into our f function. It's what we get out. So in the input bar here, I'm just going to do an ordered pair. So use my parentheses and go the x coordinate 6, that's my input value, and then for my y coordinate, I'm going to say f of 6, like that. So we have this point 6 comma f of 6, and when I hit enter, the point gets made, which the answer is 64, but that's way up here, right? So manipulating your graph, you can always zoom in and out, and zooming in and out's nice, except for sometimes I don't like that it's changing the scale of both the x and the y-axis at the same time, because we don't need to look, if we zoom out a bunch, I don't really care from negative 50 to 50 on my x-axis. I just want my y scale to change, right? So to do that, one way to do that, grab your Move Graphics View tool, And to change the scale of one axis and not the other, if you have that tool selected, you can hover over your axis, like say the y-axis, and your cursor will change into arrows. So click and drag your axis towards the origin, and that'll actually change our Y scale. So now I can change it so that I can get my 664 point shown on my grid. And you can do other talks, through that. So, whatever conversation you want to have, maybe if I zoom in here, say at -1, and we want to analyze what is f of -1. So I'm going to put a new point on here. So the x-coordinate is my input of -1, and I'm just going to say comma f of -1, and when I hit enter, it puts that point right there, and we can see that when we put in a -1, we get out a half. So that f of -1 is a half, which, you could take that math conversation wherever you want to go. So just a quick conversation, guys, about using functions in GeoGebra and also using that output notation like f of a number, helping students understand that that has some value to it. And one thing that I do think is kind of cool too is that when you hover over this point that we did, it'll tell you its definition in the little yellow box, and it's f of -1, and we can relate that to the half. Okay, so anyways, I hope that helps you guys with some function stuff and getting your students to kind of mess around and physically input this f of stuff in the output coordinate of a point, just to help them understand. All right, thank you guys.